a comprehensive review conducted by an independent expert panel has cast significant doubt on the convictions of Lucy Letby, the former nurse serving a whole-life sentence for the murders of 7 babies and the attempted murders of 7 others at the Countess of Chester Hospital. The panel, chaired by Dr. Shoo Lee, meticulously examined the cases of all 17 infants involved in the prosecution. Their findings directly challenged the basis of Letby's convictions, asserting that the deaths and near-fatal incidents were not the result of intentional malicious acts, but rather stemmed from a combination of inadequate medical care and the natural progression of pre-existing conditions. The report, released following a thorough and independent investigation, paints a starkly different picture than the one presented during Letby's trial. It highlights significant failings within the hospital's medical practices, suggesting a systemic lack of appropriate care contributed significantly to the adverse outcomes experienced by the infants. These failures, the report argues, were not isolated incidents, but rather indicative of a broader pattern of negligence and inadequate resource allocation within the neonatal unit. The panel meticulously reviewed medical records, nursing notes, and other relevant documentation, seeking to identify potential causal factors beyond Letby's alleged actions. The panel's detailed analysis directly contradicts the prosecution's case, which centered around Letby's alleged deliberate actions. The report emphasizes that many of the babies suffered from complex and fragile health conditions, leaving them vulnerable to various complications and adverse events. The panel's findings strongly suggest that the deterioration of these infants' health was largely attributable to underlying medical vulnerabilities and the shortcomings in their medical management, rather than any intentional harm inflicted by Letby. The expert panel's conclusions, therefore, raise serious questions about the reliability of the evidence presented during the trial and the fairness of Letby's conviction. This report's release comes amid an ongoing public inquiry into the events at the Countess of Chester Hospital. While the inquiry is proceeding on the premise of Letby's guilt, the panel's findings introduce a significant challenge to this foundational assumption. The discrepancies between the panel's findings and the original court verdict demand a thorough reassessment of the evidence and a critical evaluation of the processes that led to Letby's conviction. The weight of the expert panel's evidence, detailing systemic failures within the hospital's medical care, necessitates a broader examination of responsibility, moving beyond the singular focus on Letby's actions. The panel's report thus serves as a critical catalyst for a wider investigation into the systemic issues that contributed to the tragic outcomes experienced by the infants, regardless of Letby's culpability. The question now is not simply whether Letby acted alone, but whether the hospital itself played a role in creating an environment where such tragedies could occur. This necessitates a profound review of medical practices and resource allocation to prevent similar incidents in the future.